Let me take you back to the morning after a big professional high. The night before, we'd organize a big party to celebrate 2 years of the innovation program I was running for the legal industry here in Singapore. It was a massive milestone, something we'd built from scratch. The room was full of people who really believed in the work we were doing. There were partners and supporters and friends and VIPs, speeches, champagne, loads of hugs. It was one of those nights where everything felt so exciting. But the next morning, when I should have felt buzzing with all of the excitement, I woke up, went downstairs like I always did, made myself a coffee in the exact same mug, stepped out on my balcony, beautiful sunny morning here in Singapore. I could hear the birds chirping in the background, and I just sat there completely flat. It was like someone had reached inside me overnight and pulled out the plug. No thoughts, no energy, no spark. Just this really heavy, hollow stillness. And it didn't help that I was kind of hungover. So I was supposed to go to work that morning, but I didn't. I just couldn't. I stayed home, sat on my balcony, and I cried. Not because something had happened. Again, we had a great celebration, but because I felt like something in me had completely disappeared. And I remember thinking, how the hell am I going to keep going? This was the job I loved. Well, maybe a bit too much, right? I'd poured my energy, my creativity, my identity into it. And out of absolutely nowhere, there was just nothing left. At the time, I didn't have the words for it. I told myself I was just tired, so I'll bounce back. But looking back now, that was absolutely the beginning of burnout. I just didn't know it yet. I just didn't have the language for it. Also, that was January 2020, so you can imagine the kind of healthy state of mind I had when the pandemic began. Things were only going to get a lot harder from there, but that's a story for a different episode. If lately you've had no headspace or energy to do the things you usually love, it's not because you're lazy, unmotivated, or lack focus. It might simply be because you're burnt out. So here's what we're talking about today. Burnout isn't just about being tired. It's not something you fix with a holiday or a nap or a bubble bath. It's a full body, full system overload. And it happens when stress becomes chronic and your body doesn't get a chance to recover. This episode is for you if you feel like you're running on fumes, saying yes to everything, but still feeling like it's not enough. We're going to unpack what burnout actually is, the science behind it, and most importantly, how to start recovering from it. Ready? Let's dive in. Hey, I'm Noemi, former queen of bad habits and corporate go-getter turned well-being coach and personal growth junkie. And in a world full of overwhelming wellness advice, we're here to cut through the noise. This is your space to master healthy habits, transform your mindset, own your well-being, and design a life you love on your terms. We're ditching the highlight reels and embracing the whole messy, imperfect journey towards becoming our absolute best selves. You're the author of your own story. So are you ready to write the next chapter? Let's go, and welcome to Unwritten Potential. So let's get into the science for a sec. The World Health Organization officially defines burnout as an occupational phenomenon, which basically means it shows up at work but affects your whole life. But to really understand what's happening in your body and mind, we need to look at the research that gives us better language for this experience. And Christina Maslach and Michael Leiter, I hope I pronounced their names right, describe burnout in 3 dimensions. Dimension number 1, emotional exhaustion. This is the part most of us feel first. You are drained. Nothing recharges you. Even small tasks feel massive. Your nervous system is stuck in go, 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 but you're completely out of gas. Number 2 is depersonalization, or cynicism. You start disconnecting from your job, from your friends, from people, from things you used to care about. And you might catch yourself thinking, like, what's the point? Or I just can't be bothered. And then dimension number 3, reduced personal accomplishment. And this is when the emotional weight turns into self-doubt. You're doing more than ever, but feel like none of it matters, like you're failing, even when you're showing up. And here's the important bit. The first 2, exhaustion and cynicism, are the core of burnout. The third, feeling like you're not achieving anything, is often the result of being stuck in those first 2 for too long. Now, here's what people often get wrong. Burnout isn't just about stress. It's about chronic, unrelenting stress with no proper recovery. And to really understand this, we need to separate 2 key things: the stress versus the stressors. A stressor, so that's stress OR, right, is the thing causing the pressure. So that's the emails, the expectations, the family demands, the work deadlines. And the stress is our body's response to these. Heart rate goes up, muscles tense, you're ready to fight, flee, or freeze. The problem in modern life, the shark never leaves, right? The email inbox is bottomless. The expectations don't stop. So your body stays activated all the time. And if you don't complete the stress cycle, the stress piles up until you burn out. So let's talk about the stress response cycle for a little bit. Your body has a natural way of shifting from survival mode back into safety, but only if you let it finish. That's the stress response cycle. And it has 3 stages: alarm, resistance, exhaustion. Alarm is when your body reacts to a threat. Resistance, when you push through and try to cope. Exhaustion, when your system runs out of fuel, and that's where burnout begins. So normally completing the stress cycle is like moving through a roundabout, right? It flows, it clears, and suddenly you can breathe again. Avoiding going through the stress cycle is like stopping in the middle of a traffic jam. Everything backs up until it blows up. Here's what the research tells us. You can't always remove the stressors, right? We don't always have control over the things that are causing us stress. But your body doesn't need you to solve everything. What your body needs is to know that the danger has passed. This understanding leads us to something super important. Not all burnout looks the same, and that means recovery isn't one size fits all either. Ali Abdaal, in his book Feel Good Productivity, highly recommended, identifies 3 common patterns of burnout that I see all the time in my personal life and in my coaching work. The first is strain burnout. So that's doing too much. This is the burnout of overcommitment. You're always busy. You're always saying yes, always behind. Even the fun stuff feels like a task. If this sounds like you, here's what to try. Get ruthless about your priority. Like, ask yourself, what can I drop? What can wait? Not everything deserves your energy. You can try to say no more often. Seriously, no is a complete sentence. You don't need a PowerPoint presentation or a 5-paragraph message to justify it. No is a complete sentence. Maybe stop multitasking. All that jumping between emails, Slack, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Instagram, it's frying your brain. Give your attention one place to go at a time. And maybe upgrade your breaks. I'm not talking about doom scrolling on your phone while pretending to rest. I'm not talking about getting hammered in the evening to forget all your problems. I mean actual breaks. Stretch, move, go outside, breathe. Throughout the day, let your nervous system catch up on you. The second type of burnout is drain burnout, and that's not enough recovery. This is when you're technically resting, but it's just not working. You're taking breaks, but you still feel wiped, like you're running on low battery even after a weekend off. That's because numbing isn't the same thing as resting. So here's what I recommend. Schedule some actual passive rest, real rest. Watch a movie, read a book, sit in the sun and stare at the clouds and do nothing. It doesn't have to be productive. It doesn't need to be productive. And I'm guilty of that, of, going for a walk and having a podcast or an audiobook in my ears. But sometimes we just need to rest and let our mind wander. Stop earning your rest. You don't need to finish the whole to-do list to deserve a break. You don't need to prove how exhausted you are to justify taking basic care of yourself. The third type of burnout is mismatch burnout. And this is the sneaky one because from the outside, your life looks great. But on the inside, you feel totally disconnected, flat, like you're just going through the motion and wondering, like, what's the fucking point? So here's what to do. Start asking yourself, why am I doing this? Is it for the paycheck, the praise, the pressure, or does it actually mean something to you? Check in with your values. Are your daily actions aligned with the things that truly matter to you? Not what you should care about, but what you actually care about. And also give yourself permission to course correct. Alignment isn't a one-time thing. It shifts as you grow and evolve. So if something feels off, it's okay to change direction. It's okay to want different things that you once wanted. And allow me to put on my coaching hat for a second and ask you a question. If nobody clapped, if nobody watched, if nobody gave you a gold star, would you still be doing what you're doing? Would you stay in the job? Would you stay in the relationship? Would you live life the same way you're doing now? And if the answer is no, then what needs to shift? Maybe a useful reflection that you can ponder upon when you go for that break without your phone. So how do we complete the stress cycle? And remember what I said earlier, your body doesn't need you to solve everything. It just needs to know the danger has passed. Try one or a few of these every day. First, move your body. Whether it's going for a walk or having a dance party in your living room like I do nearly every day, or shaking it out like a toddler having a tantrum. Movement burns through the adrenaline and cortisol released during stress. It's your body's way of running from the metaphorical lion. So move your body. 2, connect with someone safe. A 20-second hug, a proper belly laugh with a friend, even a quick phone call to someone who just gets you. This helps because safe connection is a biological signal to our brain that we're not alone, that the threat has passed. 3, express your emotions, whether it's journaling, singing, drawing, writing angry letters, scream. Like emotion literally means energy in motion, right? And it needs somewhere to go. When you don't let it move, it just stays stuck. So just find an outlet to express your emotions. For me, it's making music. And 4, breathe deeply. And try the 5-5-10 methods. So you inhale for 5, hold for 5, slowly exhale for 10. This longer exhale, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest mode. And it helps regulate your heart rate and regulate your stress hormones in minutes. Remember, emotions are like a roundabout. You've got to go through them to come out to the other side. Okay, so let's wrap up. We've unpacked what burnout actually is. Not laziness, not weakness, but a full body signal that your body is maxed out. We talked about stress versus stressors, broke down the 3 phases of the stress cycle, and named the 3 types of burnout that might be draining you. Strain, drain, mismatch. But here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to do more. You need to recover smarter. You need to move the stress through, not just power through. So pick one way to complete the stress cycle today, whether it's move, connect, express, breathe. Whatever helps your body feel safe again, start there. If this episode hit home, send it to a friend who might be running on fumes too. And if you enjoy the show, please consider rating it on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or wherever you're listening to this. It would help me more than you know. It will help the podcast reaching more people, and I would forever be grateful. Thank you so much for listening. I would love to hear if anything resonated. Is there too much science? Not enough? I don't know. Just tell me what you think. And until next time, bye.